Hi there, this is Mr. Van Kaplan. Today I'm going to show you how to use Autodesk Inventor. It is a 3D drawing program, and you're going to design your wind turbine, the blades that will go on the wind turbine that you're going to build in Energy and Environment class. Some of you have probably done this when you're in 6th grade, but this is just a quick refresher. First thing you want to do is log on, obviously, and then click Autodesk Inventor Professional. It's orange with an I, and it says Pro underneath it. Click that and let it load. You may have to choose to agree to use the software since it's your first time on this computer. Okay, now we're going to make a part file. So you want to hit New. You want to use English, and we're going to measure in inches. And think about how tall, thick, and wide you want your blades to be. Also think about the number of blades you want to use. After you do that, hit Create. Okay, now once you've loaded, you are in Autodesk Inventor. Your screen will probably be gray. The first thing you want to do is hit Start 2D Sketch. You have several different planes. Let's use the XY plane. Click that once, and it should give you some grids like this. Okay, what I'm going to show you basically is how to make some different shapes, and you can get in here and practice a little bit and kind of fine tune how you want this. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to use is the line tool. You click that and you go, and it stays on the line tool until you close the shape like I've done, or you can always right click and hit OK and it would stop. Okay, so that's one way to make a blade kind of looks like a triangle at the top, but then it comes down. Some other things you can do, you can use the line, and then you can make an arc. Make sure you're on a 3-point arc. So we're going to go here to this end, and then we start dragging it up. Gives you that line. Okay. The cool thing with Inventor, you know you're going to measure. It has to be specific measurement so it doesn't hit the bottom of the stand we're using to hold up your tower. So let's say I want this line to be, okay, that's really small, 0.774. Let's say I want it to be 8 inches. Okay, it jumps off the screen, don't be alarmed. Click front, it will resume that. If that's 8 inches, this obviously has to be less, and it's kind of automatically resized it for you. I'm going to put 6 inches there, and you see it stretches it out because we've closed this figure. And then I want this to be, let's say I want this to be 4 inches. Okay, that's a little too much. Let's say 2.5. And you'll have to get up and measure with a tape measure and kind of get it how you want it. Okay, so that's one example of a wind blade. Over here I've added an arc to it. I still want to dimension that. So let's see, that's about 7 point. Let's make this 10 inches, see what happens. Okay, and you can see it stretches it out and it keeps everything with it. Other things you can do, you can get really creative with Inventor, and I've got the pan tool. I'm just scrolling down. Let's say you want to make an awkward shape. Let's use a rectangle, but then you want your top to be kind of rounded off. Okay, so I'm going to make a circle that overlaps that. I right click OK, I'm off that. So now I'm going to move this circle here, and watch what this trim button will do. Come in, trim that away, and now you've got a completely different looking shape. So you can get really creative. I'm going to add some dimensions to this. I do want you to get up and actually measure and go and measure on the stand we're going to use so you can see what's going to go on there. And the good thing, when you actually make these out of cardboard, you just have to make it once and then you can trace the rest of them. Okay, so these are all shapes that are 2D. Very, very basic what I've showed you. You all be able to get in here and do some different things. The cool thing about Inventor, if you mess up anything, it has an undo button just like Microsoft Word. Then you can go back and fix it as well. Okay, so those are some basic shapes. I'm going to close this out and make one and actually make it 3D in just a second. Okay, now I'm going to make a pretty detailed shape here. So I'm going to start a new file, and this is just going to be one blade. Start my 2D sketch, stay in the XY plane. This time I'm going to make it a rectangle starting out. So let's say I want this, and I right clicked and hit OK there to get done. I'm going to dimension this. Let's say I want this to be 11 inches tall. When you lose that, just click front. It rezooms it for you. And then I want it to be 4 3/4 of an inch wide, so 4.75. Okay, fair enough. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add some lines in here. So I'm going to try and get this in the middle. And that's the cool thing about Inventor. When you see that dashed line, that lets you know you're in the middle. Okay. So I'm not gonna do a line there just yet. I'm gonna put a point there. It's a kind of a reference point for me. And I'm gonna make my line connect to that. Okay. And then on this side, I'm gonna put an arc. And see how it's telling me all this is lined up, which is really cool. Okay. And now I'm going to go back. I'm going to trim that. Okay. And let's say I want to do a little bit more work on the bottom here. There's the middle. See if I can connect here as well. Okay. And I'm going to trim those sides off as well. This is kind of just an odd shape. Okay, sometimes when you go back to trim, you have to remove the dimension. That's okay. Just right click and hit delete. It's still there. That size of that shape hasn't changed, so don't worry about that. I'm going to trim this side and this side. So now I've got this odd looking shape, and I trim that out. I'm going to do one more line. I think that's kind of not the shape I'm going for. So now, say these are my blades, okay, and I would have written this down on paper and knew the dimensions, even though I had to delete them, okay. So now it's a 2D shape. We're going to make it 3D. So you right click, finish 2D sketch, it zooms out, hit the home button, and now we're going to do what's called an extrusion, okay. Now these blades, if they're 1 inch thick, it's not going to move very well. I'm going to say let's make it about a 1/2 inch thick. Okay. So now I've got this 3D shape. Okay. You can see it has depth to it. It's got 3 dimensions. It shows up gray. Let's change it and give it some color. You're going to make this out of cardboard. So I'm going to scroll down and let's see. Maybe they have cardboard. Carbon fiber, cardboard. Okay. And your cardboard will actually look like that on one edge, a perforated edge. Okay, and then over here, it looks like cardboard. that's been torn up. Okay, so you can look at from the front, the top, the corner. The house button always brings you back home. Okay, so what I want you to do, and I want each person to do this. I know you're working in partners, but I want you to create a wind turbine blade of your own. Make sure you write down the dimensions on paper. I want to know how tall it's going to be. You need to go back and measure the tower and make sure it won't bottom out on that. Decide how many blades you want. And then I want you to create it in Autodesk Inventor. You don't have to make it cardboard. If you want to go and make it wood or carbon fiber, you can do that on. This is kind of just for fun and to let you practice with this and get an idea of how an engineer might actually go about designing a blade. Okay, and they're going to look different shapes and sizes. That's the point of this. I want you to get in here and experiment, and then you and your partner or your group is going to look at each other's work and decide on what type of blade you want to build. And be sure and keep in mind the number. You can have, 3 blades, 4, 5. I've had times where they've had 7 or 8. And some of them use 4 big blades and then they make 4 smaller ones and they have 8 total blades. So if you're going to do that, I want you to use Autodesk Inventor and design both of your blades. So this is a good reference and a good starting point to go in there and do some engineering design before you actually make it out of cardboard and cut it and use the hot glue to assemble it. So do your best on this. I want you to be creative, but also make sure that it's efficient and it's going to work well. After you've made yours, you can go up here, click on the little iPro file. You want to do Save As. You can save it to your documents. I have a folder built especially for Inventor files, and I'm going to name this Wind Turbine Blade. And then I'm going to save that. So hopefully this will help you get a good idea of what you're actually going to create, and then we're going to test it and see how many washers it can lift. So good luck designing. Remember to work as a team, collaborate with each other, bounce ideas off of each other, and come up with the best possible design. Thank you.